Hello, my name is Host Eric, and I'm the host of Talking with Famous People. I'm here with someone, and I started this video without a particularly clear notion of what I was going to talk about. I think what I want to talk about in this video is more on benchmarks, mileage markers, goal kind of a things, organization of one's life into maps. So I have ideas about what I want to do and how I want things to go, projects I'd like to launch, and benchmarks I'd like to meet. And I find myself increasingly desirous of more protocols, more organization, a more clear plan, and in myself more of a willingness to be constrained by practical concerns. So one of the examples of this is I'm using this microphone here. I think it makes the video sound a lot better. I may not have addressed the backdrop yet, and that's something that's coming forward before we start chapter 3 of Talking with Famous People, but I'm doing this right now, and in general lately I've been more, well, not just lately, over time I get increasingly attentive to things like this that matter that I'd rather not deal with. Always a challenge for an NTP. INTPs perhaps even more so than ENTPs. So for me, one way to facilitate this whole process, to make sure it happens, and to encourage myself in general and to be more likely to take action, is to think a lot about how the different threads of things might fit together, ought to fit together, and allow that to push in one spot or two spots. For somebody like Zachary, who on a video earlier today said he referred to himself as not very disciplined and expressed that perhaps, well, I don't know, it wasn't specific to this necessarily, but that's how I read it, as he is struggling with a combination of expectations, external and internal. He's struggling a little bit with that perfectionist thing. He wants to make sure it's good enough before he puts it out there, whatever it is. And he's struggling a bit with the start part, which I think NTPs have a trouble with if it's something they think they're supposed to do. If it's something that they feel like in the moment, that's a different matter, especially with the ENTP. I got no problem pulling the trigger on shit. I pull the trigger willy-nilly, too much. I'll pull the trigger on something even when I have something else scheduled. And I go, oh wait, hold on, I can't do that. But if I had an assignment of some sort, something I was supposed to do that's hanging over my shoulder, I will postpone that as long as possible in general. And some of them I just won't seem to ever get to. It's a challenge. But I think the key is we need to find ways to create the narratives about what we're doing to make what we're doing important and exciting enough to ourselves that we follow through and do it, or at least follow through and do something. One key is we need to remember that we don't know how this is going to turn out. Even planning types, they might want to implement a plan. They might successfully implement that plan. The realities will change the needs of the individuals executing the plan necessarily, and therefore change the plan. It's unavoidable. Planning types are operating in this delusionary space where they assume things are going to go as they anticipate. I maybe err on the side of expert intuition too much, and I say my favorite words: we'll figure that shit out later. We'll figure it out then. I don't know. We'll figure that out by then. Why are you even talking about that? That's a detail we don't even need to think about. I have this conversation with Abraham or other people all the time. I don't want to know all those details. Who cares? We don't need to figure all that shit out. Just fucking move. You know? Move, 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 move. That's the key thing to do. Make shit happen. It doesn't really... Everyone's so obsessed with making it happen right all the time. Just make it happen. But at the same time, I'm chapter 3 now of Talking with Famous People, which means it's time for me to stop just making shit happen and time to start being a little bit more directive or intentional in determining what shit happens and making sure that I don't make impulsive decisions and making sure that I do the little bit of legwork that's necessary that's going to help me to do less legwork that I don't like in the future. Those are the kind of legworks that one has to do. Things that prevent future legworks. So this is a bit of a unfocused video. I ramble a bit here on the topic of priorities, of discipline, work, getting shit handled, being precise versus being productive. I mean prolific. That's what I'm going to say. Being precise instead of being prolific. Versus. So it's an interesting vector to think about. Precision versus prolificacy. Profligacy. Is that what it is? Alright, regardless, thanks for watching Talking with Famous People. I'll try to do better next time.